guys, I hope everyone is doing well. This is Rudy. Hey, I just wanted to give my perception of the first day of the Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin trial. Keep in mind I'm not a reporter and I'm not going to regurgitate back for you the facts that I'm sure will be recorded in many different blogs that are recording this event. So I'll give you my perception and the things that I noticed. I did spend all day in the trial. Orly Tates is there. James David Manning is there. His family is there. Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin's family is there. His parents look like saints. His father is in a wheelchair. He's got brothers and possibly a son. I don't know if it's his younger brother or it's his son, but he has a strong likeness to Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin. There's also people there that are not for Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin. There's military bloggers that write very negatively of Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin, and there's a mixture of people in the Army that are in Army fatigues that are there as well. And the courtroom holds about 60 people, and that's about how many showed up. The judge said that she would allow standing room, but there isn't anybody that has to remain standing. There's a seat for everybody. So we have a very dismal turnout at the trial, much less than I would have hoped for. Trying to go through my notes here, so give me a second. The first part of the day, looks like 2 charges with like sub-charges, and I'm not probably going to use the right terminology because they use the words elements and charges, and I'm not familiar with the Code of Military Justice and the particular phrases that are used. But there are 2 main charges, and one of the charges he pled guilty to, which was directly disobeying an order from his direct chain of command. And there's a second charge that he's pleading not guilty to, which my understanding that charge is missing movement. And they did select jury members that were from the military for that, and they interviewed them in the courtroom. Now, many of these people, almost all of them, had said they had heard something to some degree, maybe not of Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin, but the doctor who refused to deploy because of Obama's birth certificate. And almost all of them said that they had heard it in either the internet, Yahoo, or CNN or Fox News. And we all know, the slant that CNN and Fox News takes. But they said that they could give a fair verdict even though they had heard about his trial before. One guy said, and let me just read what he said. I tried to write down what he said, but it may not be a direct quote, but it's going to be pretty dang close. He was asked, "What did you think of it when you first heard of it on the news? What was your reaction?" And the guy replied back, he said, "It is not the place of the defendant to decide whether to deploy based upon the eligibility of the president. In other words, you shouldn't mix politics and the military." Now that's in direct contradiction to what the Nuremberg trials have told us. Another lady was asked, what her perception was when she first heard about it on the news, and her response was, "Well, I follow orders." So that kind of gives you the mindset. I mean, I can't get in these people's minds by looking at them, and I'm not trying to judge them, judge a book by its cover. But they've had very little exposure to this issue, and what was presented today was mainly the prosecution, and they presented very systematic evidence of him receiving orders and not following them, not specifically, not being on a particular plane, and they showed evidence to suggest that he did know that he received deployment orders. And that's not really the issue, right? I mean, the issue is that he thought the orders were illegal, and the chain of command that goes up to Obama that signed the surge, that the orders are coming from an illegal commander, the chief of the military, which is Obama. But that hasn't been gone into in the trial. They did mention it a few times, but that they haven't gone into the birth certificate issue in depth at all. And I don't know if he's going to be able to present that based upon Denise Lind, who is the judge, stating that he's not able to present any evidence along those lines. And previously she said because it will be embarrassing to Obama. Those were her words, not mine. So let me look at my notes here. And again, I'm not a court reporter. I don't put, I don't want to put myself up to something I'm not. I'm just telling you my perception as a average citizen who attended the trial. It was, like I said, it had a dismal turnout. I would have expected a lot more people. It was very systematic. They went through the charge of missing movement, and they interviewed the jury. And he did plead guilty to willfully disobeying a lawful order from his direct chain of command. And I think that can have up to 18 months maximum prison time just for that one charge that he pled guilty to. So, keep in mind that Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin doesn't strike me as an arrogant or a brash person. He's severely stricken in his conscience and in his soul that he wants to make sure that he's receiving constitutionally eligible orders and that he has taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. He's not somebody who's going to stand up and say, look at me, I'm trying to do this for attention. It's absolutely the opposite of that. The man doesn't strike me as an attention getter, a glory hound, or anything like that. He's, you can tell the man is emotional, and he served the military for 18 years. This is his life, and so it's very disheartening to watch the military do this to one of their own. And we'll see what the punishment is and the sentence is and the verdict for the second charge is hopefully tomorrow. But I tried to think of an analogy of how to describe